Howdy everyone, Poacher here with an Age of Magic video. In today's video, I want to talk about reworking champions, and I want to look at two champions specifically, one being Troran and the other being Suna, because I think the approaches that were taken for these two champions were very different and affected the game in very different ways, some good and some bad. We will start with Troran. So Troran has been in the game since beta, one of the older characters. Originally, his skill set was good at the time, and then as more characters got released, he fell off drastically until they did release him as a collectible character into the game. And with his release into the game as a collectible character, they reworked him. The main change to him came with his leadership ability. Leadership abilities were new at the time. And with the leadership ability came the use of the dwarves. Now, the dwarves did have some very niche uses before Troran was released. However, his release gave them a pretty big buff to just their synergy, not them as characters, standalone characters. Them as standalone characters are still shit characters. If Troran wasn't in the game, you wouldn't waste your time on the dwarves. So, is this rework a good or bad rework? It's good in the sense it made 6 other characters usable. Still, only 4 of the 6 are primarily used: Valendar, Trodar, Hargrim, Angram. Ambra and Gassa don't really get used within a Troran setup team. But you could. You could if you wanted to. They just wouldn't be as effective. Now, that's the good sense of the rework. The bad sense of the rework is by changing one hero to make 6 others usable, you've stapled the other 6 heroes. You're really limiting the ability to rework those heroes now, and reworks can be done to both nerf and buff heroes. They're mainly done to buff them, though. So I'm going to make this video in the sense that the reworks would be used to buff heroes. You cannot rework the other dwarves now. You could. The issue you now have is if you rework the dwarves to buff them in any way, you're going to make the faction as a whole significantly stronger, and they are strong already. Troran adds so much to them to make them stronger. Anytime you make them stronger, their strength is significantly amplified due to Troran's leadership ability. So, you take Angram, for example, you make him an awesome character, boom, he's 3-4 times better simply because of Angram's ability. Sure, you could make him awesome as a usable character, a standalone character, but you always have to keep in mind how is Troran going to affect that change. Now, personally, I think the rework is good because it did make a whole faction usable. In the long term, though, I'm not so much of a fan of the Troran rework, simply because I feel like every character should have something cool about them. I know it's impossible. I know that you can't make every character in the game usable. It's just not the way. It's just not the way it's going to be. But I feel like every character should be designed with an idea that they could be used in different situations. If you wanted to use Angram, you could. And there are situations where an Angram could be used. However, let's pick someone else. Ambra, for example, because who's using an Ambra? Ambra should be designed in a way where, hey, you could use him with Troran, or there's a secret team, not secret, but there's a range build team that you could use him with, because he's designed in such a way that he might benefit ranged users or something like that, or he might be really effective against a specific class of unit. Ambra could decimate tanks, for example, because he carries a massive crossbow. His bolts could just pierce armor. He could be a tank killer. So instead of doing that approach, they buffed one character and made them usable. And yeah, so that's the first type of rework. Now, let's head over to Suna. So let's look at Suna now. And I know some people still aren't happy with the Suna rework, but I think you're not happy with it. And I could be wrong, but I think the majority of people that aren't happy with the rework are because they could have made her more powerful, which personally I don't agree with. I think Suna should be the standard now for Playkot when reworking a champion. The reason for this is because by a standalone character, she's still not the greatest champion in the game. She's not overpowered. She's not destroying everything. She is being used in multiple different teams. I've seen her in Ilios teams, Golden Army teams, Golden Boy teams. What else? Dwarf teams. There's a hybrid of Beastmen, Children of the Forest team as well. And that's why she's good. People are finding multiple ways to use her, and I think that's how every character, if they are being reworked, should be designed in a way where they could be used in multiple different ways. The fact that they reworked a champion and didn't make her the most powerful thing in the game is just a great step. I think and that's why I say she should be the standard. I think now Playkot should take any champion from the game and be like, how can we make this champion so unique and cool that players can play around with it and find multiple ways to use it. I know, like I said, it's not possible to make every character like that, but there's no reason why we can't have, a good 10, 15, 20 champions that are just, in that gray area where they're not super strong, but mix them with a bunch of different characters and they serve a pretty good use. Not every character needs to be reworked to be God tier. It doesn't need to happen. And Suna is the perfect example of that. It also goes to show the difference. Again, this is why I'm comparing her to Troran. The difference between reworking a champion to benefit multiple others and then not reworking them compared to taking one champion and just giving them a lot of love and care and making them unique and fun. And I know it will take a lot of effort, but I think it goes to show what that effort can achieve. And that is not something that should be thrown away so easily. Players aren't going to care if it takes ages to rework one champion. Okay, I know there's a lot of work that comes with it. You need to rework them, then they have to change them in the story. You need to change how they act. You need to change it. I'm sure there's a lot more to it than the little bit that I know. But I think that all that effort goes a lot further than changing one hero to benefit others. Again, that's my personal opinion. There's no reason, again, why you can't release heroes that benefit a specific faction or hero. But if you look at the community at the moment, if you look in tournaments, in arenas, and you see all the teams being used with Suna, I think that you will see that the effort you have put in to change her is very much appreciated, and it's giving a lot of teams a new way to be played with. And it's giving a lot of people free-to-play players that have got her in the past and just have banked her because she's not usable. Those players are now able to take on endgame teams. And, I know there's the group of people out there, but like whales pay for everything. They shouldn't be beaten. I don't believe in that whatsoever. I feel like you should build the heroes you want, and you should be able to do a decent amount with those heroes because each hero in this game is unique, and there should be some pride in having that hero. Doesn't matter if you're new, doesn't matter if you don't spend any money, doesn't matter if you spend all the money in the world. It doesn't matter. These heroes are unique to you, and you should be able to use them in different modes in the game, PvP, wherever. There's no reason why you should be at a disadvantage. The only advantage I think whales should have is the time they save. Okay, that's all they're paying for is time saved. In a game like this, that's all they're paying for is time saved. So if you guys take the effort to build up these heroes, then there's no reason why you shouldn't be able to compete with top-end players. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for watching. If you do have any questions, feel free to leave a comment below. I'll answer to the best of my ability and wherever you are in the world. Until next time, take care of yourself.